And the deadly beating of a D.C. man. We're talking about 64-year-old Reggie Brown. A fourth girl charged in connection with his murder was supposed to be sentenced today, but now that has been delayed. Our Melissa Kim has been following this case from the beginning, and she explains what happened today and how it involves the D.C. Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services.
The 14-year-old girl, who was 13 at the time she was involved in Reggie Brown's murder, was scheduled to be sentenced today, but that has now been postponed to January 30th, due in part to representatives from the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services not showing up to the hearing with an updated report. Tonight, the 14-year-old girl who was awaiting her sentence will now have to wait more than a month to learn her fate. The girl was found guilty of second-degree murder as well as assault with a dangerous weapon, among other charges, on November 18th. She is the fourth girl that is scheduled to be sentenced in the brutal beating of the 64-year-old D.C. man last October. Reggie Brown's body was found in an alley in the 6200 block of Georgia Avenue Northwest. Cell phone video taken by one of the 5 teenage girls shows the 14-year-old kicking Brown in the head as he lay motionless and bleeding. Judge Kendra Briggs noted that officials from the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services were scheduled to update her with an official report, but those representatives did not show up to court today. Also, officials from the agency were scheduled to sit down with the 14-year-old's mother yesterday, but they will now meet with her next week.
Councilmember Henderson.
Here.
This just a day after the Recidivism Reduction, Oversight, and Accountability Act was introduced to D.C. Council at the request of D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab. The council voted unanimously to implement a series of changes to DYRS due to issues like those in the courtroom today.
DYRS is an agency in need of transformation. It is an agency where we see placements taking way too long and young people languishing for months on end at YSC without receiving services.
Councilmember Zachary Parker is in charge of the subcommittee that oversees DYRS and says that the agency needs to be held more accountable, especially when it comes to deadlines and requirements for sentencings.
Why does this matter? Because we know young people, while waiting placement, are not receiving services at YSC, and that time does not account for their ultimate sentence. And so on average, young people are spending 2-3+ months at YSC on top of whatever they are sentenced.
In the meantime, 3 of the 5 teenage girls have already been sentenced. The oldest, a 15-year-old, is serving a 3-year sentence in secure detention, while the other 2, both 13, are in a juvenile facility until they are 20 and 21 years old. At D.C. Superior Court tonight, I'm Melissa Kim, WUSA 9.